Hi guys! So I just filmed a video, a tag video, but I'm gonna film the first part of my books read this year. I did a video in June talking about all the books I have read so far, and I'm gonna talk about all the other books I read. I'm gonna show them and say what I thought about them and everything. The last book I had read was Paper Town. So, okay. The next book I read was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. If you hear these crazy noises, it's a thunderstorm coming, but it's cool. Here, I loved it. I loved it. Really, guys, it was 5 stars and it became one of my favorites. It was amazing. It was super amazing writing style, flowed super well. I completely could relate to Jane and to what she was thinking. I love it when a character makes complete sense for me. So it's not that she was perfect or anything, but I knew the motives towards her every decision. I very much liked her musings about things and her observations of people and of others and of herself. And I very much liked the romance. She had to follow up her morals, and even though they could bring her unhappiness. And I really loved the ending in which am I doing spoilers? I love the ending when she finds Mr. Rochester being completely not what he was. He kind of less powerful and more needy. And even though their love survived, so I thought that was phenomenal, and I just love this book. Read it; it's awesome. Next book I read was Dead Reckoning by Charlaine Harris. Which book is this? I think it's the 11th? Yeah, yes. Yes, this is the 11th book in the Sookie Stackhouse series. It's one of my favorite series, one of my favorite vampire series. And I didn't like this one very much. I gave it 3 stars. Because this series, for me, I think they have like books that are amazing and very awesome. And then books in between. For me, it feels like some of these books are just fixing up things so that the next amazing story, amazing book comes along. And I have felt that the 10th book, the book before this one, was the in-between book. But this one was also an in-between book for me. I got tired of the story, and that's very worrisome. I got tired of Eric, and I think Suki should just go live her life and abandon all the vampire issues. So, I didn't like it very much. Yeah, I'm hoping for a very, very good book. Next one, I think, is in May. I could be wrong. The next one comes out. But definitely not my favorite. But it was, a Suki book, so I give it 3 stars because it's a Suki book. So it has all the Bonta story, and even though it was kind of boring, it was moving forward with the plot. So it was okay. 3 stars. Next book is The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place, The Mysterious Howling by Mary Rose Wood. This is a middle grade book that I very much liked. I gave it 4 stars. It was a very easy read, and it had that cute little style, Jane Austen kind of style of writing, of how this girl, what's her name? Penelope, uh, how she spoke, and the story, and she becomes a nanny sorts. No, how do you call it? A governess, yes. She becomes a governess to these incorrigible children, these children that are kind of savages and were found in the woods, and the lord of this house takes them in, and there's a lot of mystery and to who these children are and what happened to them and what are the people's motives to everything. And I liked it very much. I will certainly read the next one whenever I'm feeling like reading a middle grade book. This was very cute, and the plot was very well conducted, so 4 stars for this one. Book number 26 on my reading list of the year. It's I Am Number 4 by Pittacus Laura. For me, this was amazing. I give it 5 stars. I really loved the writing and how delicate the whole story was conducted, and I really liked how the characters' feelings were portrayed and the story, basically, because it's a very good sci-fi, and the flashbacks, the memories that Four has of his home planet. It was just very, very beautiful. I loved it, really. And I really liked the romance too. It was cute, it was sweet, and not overhanded for me. It was very sweet, very sweet. And very, very good action scenes. Very different from the movie. I think the movie has more action, when here in the book it's more, it feels like things are gonna go very wrong. Like, it feels like it's very hopeless that they win or survive at all. But I really like it. Yeah. Can't wait to read The Power of Six. It must be very good. Next book is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Finally, I read this. Finally. And I must say, don't hate me, guys. I just didn't like it very much. Okay, I have no question that this is very well written and the story is very good, but my problem with the book is that I just could not relate to Katniss. Yeah, really. And if I cannot like or relate to how a character is acting, I cannot get in the book emotionally as I would when a character is someone I very much understand. So for me, Katniss was not very, I don't know, I didn't relate to her, really. The main reason I did not like Katniss was the way the love triangle was approached. It's because the love triangle, the way she acted with Peeta without being emotionally involved, and then suddenly she is emotionally involved without showing uh, real affection for him, and Gale being so meaningful to her and her doubting that. I just didn't see where that came from, like her affection towards Peeta being more than friendship. So ending, it was to survive. But then I just didn't think it was right, and I didn't think that it would evolve to something real, and suddenly it did, out of nowhere. So yes, about the book, I think it was well developed. It's very graphic, I must say. The ending for me was extremely disturbing. Not the ending. It was a part a little bit before the games ended. I think you guys know what I mean. With this last guy that was being killed slowly. For me, that was extremely disturbing. I really got sick to my stomach to read that. Yes, yes, I did. So yeah, there were some very graphic things that I don't think were very necessary to the story, aside from showing how cruel this world is and everything. But I give it 3 stars because it was good. It was good. I admit it was a good book, but I just had this problem with Katniss and Peeta. I really don't like Peeta at all. I think the only character I very much like is Gale, because I think he's more real, you know what I mean? I started reading Catching Fire, I read a good bit, but I had to stop for a while and then I got distracted and yeah, I think it's gonna be good. Yeah. So yeah, 3 stars. I think maybe all the hype made me expect a lot from it, and yes. Next book I read was the second volume of Fragile Things by Neil Gaiman. This was just as awesome as volume 1, and I loved it, and there were fantastic stories here. Let me remember which stories were here. Yeah, there were more poems in this one, and I don't do very well with poems. I think I can't understand poems, but some were very fun and weird and awesome. So I really liked it. It was 4 stars. Next book was Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. And this one was 3 stars. I liked the story, and at the beginning it was very scary and cool. It was a cool, scary kind of book. But a little bit more to the end, it slowed down the pace a bit. And to be honest with you guys, this is an adult horror book and supposed to be very scary and everything. But there have been some YA books that made me more scared than this book, which is very true. This is there are some very horror scenes in this book. There are some very like horror movie, horror story kind of scene in this book, like the Ouija board and the slit throats and ghosts and suicide and murder and yeah, but it was not approached in a way that scared me. Just the ghost. When the ghost started um, making people do things that was scary. But it was just a disturbing kind of scary. It wasn't something like, oh my god, I'm super scared of this book. Like, no. Really never more made me more scared than this. So yeah. 3 stars. Give it a shot if you like horror. Next book was Finding Lubchenco by Michael Simmons. And how many stars? I'm back. So this was 3 stars. It was a good book. It was fun. It was very funny. I laughed with some quirky, um, witty comments that these kids do. Thunderstorms. I don't know if you can hear it. But it was fun. So these kids, go read the synopsis on Goodreads so you know what I'm talking about. But these 3 kids try to go solve a mystery regarding an international crime related to biological chemical drugs. Very cool, and yes, they and then they go to Paris to try to figure it out, and they have fun in Paris while solving what's going on. Yeah. And it was fun. It was very fun and intelligent. I thought it was a very good book to pass the time. I'm certainly going to read the sequel to this. I think it's The Rise of Lubchenco. The next book I read was Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This was amazing, guys. 5 stars because I very much loved this book. I thought it was very thought-provoking. And what I thought was most interesting about this book, because I had watched the movie years ago, and what the impression I have is that the government had prohibited books and that they were burned as an order from the government. But reading this, I realized that it was a natural process, and people stopped wanting the books and started wanting more direct, more in-your-face ways of entertainment, such as those TV walls and stuff. And so I didn't know that. I thought it was something that the government imposed, and it was not a thing that happened naturally. And that is very scary too, because you see that a lot of people don't have interest for books and for good books and everything. And I really loved this book. It was an essential book in my dystopia collection. I'm sure this was essential. Yes. The invention of Hugo Cabret. On the movie trailer, I think they say Cabret. Cabret, whatever. So I think I talked about this book on a haul, I guess. But this became one of my favorites of the year. It's amazingly beautiful. It's illustrated. It's not just a representation of the things that happen in the book, in the written part. They're part of the story. So there's part when there's just the illustrations for 20 pages just following a scene. And there are these parts that return to being written. So this was amazing, guys. I'm dying to get Wonderstruck, which is another book by Brian Selznick, which is this kind of format. And the story was very fantastic too. It's a lot about imagination and about cinema. So it was adorable. I loved it. One of my favorites of the year. The next book is by These Kind of Bones by Clara B. Dunkel. This author is the same one that wrote The House of Dead Mates, I think it's called. Yeah, she wrote this book too. Yeah, which I plan on reading after I read Wuthering Heights because you didn't read it. But yeah, so this book was fantastic. I really didn't know what to expect because on Goodreads there were some very positive reviews and some very negative reviews. Some people love the book, some people hate the book, and I wasn't the people that loved the book. I loved it. It was 5 stars, no doubt about that. So let me give you a little bit of a synopsis. There is this village in Scotland, in the Highlands. In the past, I cannot tell you what year it is, but I'm thinking kind of Braveheart kind of scenario, a little bit after maybe. Yeah, anyway. A small village in the Highlands, and there is this girl called Maddie, and the strangers come to town, and there's a carver, and there's a curse, a werewolf curse, that needs to be dealt with. People start dying, no one knows what goes on, and it sounds cliche, but I didn't think so. For me, it was very different because of the whole mood of the story. It had this very old way of describing the things that were happening. It's in third person, and I love books that are in third person. It's not like I did this, I did that. I like when they say Maddie ran over there. I love that because I feel like I'm watching a movie and seeing everything instead of being in someone's head when this person's head might be very annoying. So in third person you don't have that kind of danger. So I really like third person. So what I mean about the writing is that it feels like someone from those times is telling you the story, is telling you the story. And I thought that was fantastic because I really, really got in the story, and the whole cultural aspects of the town were very clear to me, and I felt where everyone's motivations were coming from. The way relationships were approached were very old-fashioned, and that made it a lot more realistic. And there's a very eerie mood to the book, the whole book. I read this on a very rainy, scary day, cold day in the winter, and it was amazing. I felt the horror of the deaths that were going on and how the town was going crazy from it, and it was very awesome. And I think I finished it in one day. A very quick read, as you can see. Very well written, very well, the characters were very convincing, and the romance was just the amount that the story called for. So it was very honest and blunt, but it was also old-fashioned, which I loved. It was awesome. Really recommend this book, guys. Give it a try. Really. Next books I read were Scott Pilgrim. This is a bind-up of the first two ones. I was kind of hesitant about including this in my book challenge thingy because it's a graphic novel, right? But I said, what the hell? It has an ISBN, so it's a book. I may be just cheating, but anyway, I read it. Okay. So I watched the movie for this a few months back, and I loved it. It was so fun, it was so colorful and fast-paced, and very, very entertaining. It was one of the most original, cool movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was very video game-like, and I loved it. But I didn't like the book so much, the graphic novel so much. I'll stop calling it a book. Okay, so I didn't like the graphic novel so much. I gave it 2 stars because it was okay. That is what the 2 stars mean for me. It was okay. So it was okay, but it didn't have that awesomeness from the movie. I don't know why. I don't know. It's exactly the same story, but I think because it's faster and more in your face and everything, I like the movie more. And I don't know if I'm gonna read the next ones. And I really like the art, and it's fantastically dynamic for a graphic novel, but it was not as awesome. I didn't have so much fun or so many laughs as I did in the movie. Too bad, but it was okay. It was good. Book number 36 was Perchance to Dream by Lisa Menchev. I finally finished this one. I had bought this book a long time ago when I hadn't read it yet, and then I decided to just do it, just read it. And I gave this one 4 stars. Even though I really love the story, it's a very difficult book for me to get into. I also thought that with Eyes Like Stars, and I thought that I wouldn't have this problem with Perchance to Dream because I already understood how the world worked and everything, but I had just the same difficulty to get into this book. And I think of it as part of Lisa Menchev's writing because this is such an insane, insane story. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, it's just insane, it's crazy. Crazy things happen, and sometimes I get lost to what the hell just happened in that scene. I don't know. I had to reread a whole paragraph several times for me to finally understand what was going on. When I finished the book, I could finally realize what had happened in a whole and how everything had come together. And it was good. It was awesome. Very fun. Very beautiful story. Just one thing I want to say. I'm getting very annoyed with the love triangle in this. Very annoyed. But yeah. I'm gonna read the next one. Apparently the next one is the last one. It's a trilogy. Maybe I'll read it soon. Not soon because I'm on book buying ban. I have a lot of books to read before I pick up the third one. But I will do someday. Okay, so I'll film the next part of this video another day. I have read more books. And that's it. Thank you for watching, guys. See you later.